Welcome to this episode of YouTube, where I want to give you an update on Rika and the exhibit pack first. So we are in the middle of fall colors. So you see a lot of real beautiful photography here, getting a lot of close-up shots of Rika. The challenge of getting close-up shots is that sometimes you get a nose in the camera lens here, but the Wolf Care staff have been very diligent. We just finished up with a wolf photography weekend as well. So we're seeing more progress from Rika coming out of the den with Axel. It's been Axel who's been kind of intimidating her, but even Grayson sometimes doing a little bit of a play bow gets her to the point where she retreats a little bit. But we clearly see her tail wagging when she sees Grayson. She does have a strong bond and developing a stronger bond every day with him. We have discovered that she does like to pull tails, and Grayson is very tolerant of that. But this is footage of her averting a gaze. So again, wanting to engage, but not giving direct eye contact and just doing a kind of a sideward glance. So really fun to watch the communication. A lot of people ask, is she ever going to get bigger? This is a good comparison. Again, half the height. And just as a reminder, again, she was born May 23rd, so she was born later than our other wolves. So a lot of people trigger, this idea, oh, by fall they should be this height. But this is actually the footage of Axel and Grayson when they were 4 months of age. And that's where Rika is right now. And so you see she's comparable to height. Obviously, these are males. So just a different timing because they were born May 3rd. But I also wanted to point out again that Grayson had some of the similar traits that Rika does. He looks for cover. He seeks a place when, especially Denali, who was the big, formidable one who did his four-leg stab there, standing over Grayson. Much more intimidation for Grayson from Denali than Axel. And that's just a pattern of his behavior. And it's been that way, pretty much all of Grayson's life. He's the more timid of the two. But I find it interesting now is that some of the behaviors that Rika's displaying are the same thing that we watch with Grayson. So just to put it into perspective, she is well within the range of where the pups are. I know a lot of people think she should be taller, but that's how pups grow. I mean, they fill out in their body. And also, Axel and Grayson had litter mates. Rika didn't. She was a singleton. So it's interesting that Grayson's now taking on that role of kind of being her playmate. And so this was some footage captured from the Explore.org North camera just a few nights ago. And you can see Grayson doing inhibited bites, very gentle, rolling her over, jaw sparring. And you see Rika's tail is very relaxed. She's not in a fearful position. She's clearly coming and going and engaging in this social behavior with Grayson. There's some interesting research about sleeping behavior. Dave Meach and Steve Nick authored a paper in 1979 about the proximity of sleeping, the closeness of sleeping, and typically adults who spend a lot of time together, such as brothers, may sleep closer together. But Abby Keller on Tuesday night photographed this series of images of Rika and Grayson sleeping closer together. In captivity, this has proven to be the start of social bonding. The closer they get into the winter season, the more likelihood that bonded pair will start sleeping together. And so we're really kind of interested in watching that. Of course, Rika, still being a pup, does a rollover and disturbs Grayson and gets a nose-to-nose greeting. But Grayson certainly has reminded us of a former pack leader we have here in Shadow in so many ways. And so it's really fun to watch that kind of develop. So we're really encouraged to see Rika have comfort around Grayson, but we really are hoping that we start to see more comfort around Axel. And we are starting to see them travel as a pack. And the Wolves After Dark program on Saturday night did witness that Rika, for the first time, slept outside of the medical pen. She was actually under the eaves next to the building. But we are seeing her up in the woods more, following Grayson around. It's been warm here, and certainly the panting you're seeing is part of that 70-degree fall weather that we're experiencing. These wolves have a full winter coat, and it makes them a little bit warm. But again, we're grateful to the Wolf Care staff who spent the time helping her get adjusted. Morning Wolf Care, evening Wolf Care, being in the exhibit until dark, and that's Kelly Godfrey there getting a greeting from Rika. Kelly producing many of the photographs that you see in our calendars, as well as instructing the wolf photography weekend that happened last weekend. And so over in retirement, we're watching developments as well, but this is the other end of the spectrum. Certainly we are seeing the loss of some of the sensory ability for Grizzer, so sense of sight is diminishing. His hearing is certainly almost gone, to the point where wolf care staff will be very cautious when they go in to make sure that he knows that they're there. Sense of smell seems to be very strong yet, and so we're using some things to encourage his, or kind of stimulate his sense of smell. This is a peacock feather that was put in. We certainly do see him in patterns. He does have patterns of movement walking throughout the enclosure, and Jess Hedberg here this morning took a little walking tour with him so you could kind of see what his normal routine is, and it is in the pack holding area, going to the back habitat through what's called the transition area, and this is really helping, keeping him mobile. I think it helps him stay alert, and it's a good thing. It's not a negative. For us, this just tells us that he's a wolf. Wolves travel, and even in captivity in a smaller confined area, they travel and they move. And so coming out of the back habitat, going through transition area again into the east side, following kind of a path, and we do know that those paths are very, very important. So we make sure we don't have obstacles in the way. He uses his sense of smell. The scent glands in his paws would help, again, determine what that path is, but also repetitively using the same path is a very common thing. Even in wildlife studies, you see the frequency of game trails, paths that are traveled over and over again, being a commonplace. So that's what we have for an update. Again, we want to just say that Rika is doing well. There was also a recent publication in Yellowstone talking about the idea of wolves in a pack territorial challenge. They may, even after deposing the dominant pack members of the pack that they take over, they may adopt the pups as their own, because strength in numbers is very, very important. One line from that research paper that kind of struck me was that taking care of juveniles results in a net social good, and I think Grayson is definitely recognizing the benefit of taking care of Rika. So thanks for watching.